What's going on, everybody? Randall, aka Shizukats, here on the Tressa's Collectibles channel to bring you the Love Live School Idol Festival 2 Miracle Live box opening. So, Miracle Live 2, School Idol Festival 2 was the second version of the phone game, the rhythm game for the Love Live franchise. May it rest in peace. It unfortunately did not last very long. But here we have the School Idol Festival 2 booster pack for English Weiss Schwarz. So this is one that came out, I'm pretty sure it came out a good bit over a year ago in Japan at this point, and then now we are getting the English version. And this is a very, very interesting set because it was designed in a very specific way in order for it to be both playable as a standalone set, but also support all of the various branches of Love Live. And so here, as we can see on our boxes, all four of the branches, we have the original Love Live, Love Live Sunshine, and then we have the two other branches of Love Live that don't actually exist in English Weiss Schwarz, which are Nijigasaki and Love Live Superstar. And so, as I was saying, the set was designed in such a way to allow it to be played standalone while also giving support to those other four individual Love Live franchises. And for that reason, this set is a little bit weird in terms of card design. They wanted to fill some of the holes that maybe some of the former sets did not already have. And so there is a little bit of an imbalance in the set as to which of the groups have better cards or worse cards. That being said, for English purposes, there are only the two Love Live and Love Live Sunshine branches that are going to be really getting supported with this booster pack, just because we don't have the other two. And we'll definitely be talking about some of the potential upgrades and some of the new stuff that each of those two branches has access to as we move forward with the box opening. But before we get into the boxes, we of course have to take a look at the beautiful case topper playmat, since this is the Stitch Edge playmat that comes with the non-English original sets. These only come one per sealed case of booster boxes. Now, without further ado, let's get into our box opening. Okay, as we get into box number one, let's go ahead and talk about the expected ratios within individual boxes, as well as the expected ratios for high rarity cards within a case. So, first of all, this is a larger than average set. It's 138 cards, I believe. Yeah, 138 cards. And every single card in the set can come foil in one way or another. So at minimum, these cards are going to be SR or Triple R, and then there are also high rarity cards in the form of SPs, as well as OFRs and secret rares. Within an individual box of School Idol Festival 2, you should be expecting to get 5 double Rs in every single box. There are 13 double Rs in the set, and you're expected to get 5 in every single box. Those 13 double Rs are split into 4 for Original Love Live, 3 for Sunshine, 3 for Nijigasaki, and 3 for Love Live Superstar. And then as far as the foils go per box, you should be expecting to get 3 foils per box. And then we have noticed that there is a rare chance of a 4th foil appearing in a box, usually accompanied by either an OFR or a secret, I think. Not 100% sure on that. I'll go ahead and leave the notes somewhere on screen for you guys to just go ahead and read. As far as the high rarity goes within a sealed case, you should be expecting to get 5 SPs and 1 OFR in each case. And then there is also a chance of a secret rare, which would replace one of your 5 expected SPs. So that comes out to about a 1 in 3 chance in your case to hit a really nice card. And as far as the actual high rarity spread, there are 39 SPs, 1 for each of the idols in the School Idol Festival 2 set. So that's 9 for Muse, 9 for Aqua, 12 for Love Live Nijigasaki, and 9 for Liela. So with that being said, we've already talked a lot about what comes in these boxes. Let's actually get into cracking one for ourselves and seeing what we get. So for the 4 possible box toppers in the set, they are all reprints, and as you can see, they are also the arts from the playmat itself. So each of these cards is just a reprint of a card that comes in the set already. And then also the OFRs in the set are also the exact same card as this, but with a different art. So this is the level 1 Chica. This is a bounce back when you play a climax, designed to be played alongside the level 2 standby combo, which is another one of the promos in this box. All right, let's get straight into box number 1. With our first pack, so go ahead and just take a look at some of the cards. So we have Love Live Superstar's Kinako. Superstar was a very interesting branch of Love Live because they're constantly adding new members. Like, I think there are even 2 more members outside of the 9 that are in this set, for 11 at this point, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, the colors are also very interesting in this set. So 3 of the branches of Love Live that come in this pack, which are Superstar, Love Live Sunshine, and Nijigasaki, those branches only have red, yellow, and blue, and they don't have any green. But there are green cards for OG Love Live in this set, and interestingly, they also decided to give each of the lead members, like the 4 that are on the cover, they gave each of those idols 1 green card apiece, even though they're like not normally a green character. And so very, very interesting design choice, and it makes it a little bit awkward to play with green in this set. Obviously, a majority of the green cards are going to be in OG Love Live, like this Nozomi. Okay, and then also the artwork from the set, since this is a School Idol Festival game, they do have those like low rarity cards, like the N's and the R's. And so as we can see with these cards that we've opened so far, this is like the lower rarity art. And then as we get into like the rares and the double R's, we're going to get into some really, really beautiful mobile game art, the kind of stuff that you would expect from other mobile games, like Bang Dream or like Idol Master games. And so let's take a look at our first double R, and here we have one of those beautiful mobile game arts. This is the level 0 Kanon Brainstorm from Love Live Superstar. This card is really, really strong. It reminds me a lot of the level 0 Sally Brainstorm from Beaufry. And so they both have the same effects of you can play climaxes without fulfilling color requirements, and also when you play a climax, you may discard a card to draw a card. And then Kanon is also a tap self salvage brainstorm compared to the Sally, which was a tap self search. I think this card is extremely powerful and is going to be the brainstorm that you're going to want to be playing in pretty much every SIF2 deck. Unfortunately, we don't have Love Live Superstar in English in order to put this card in, but you know, for you Love Live Superstar players, you already know we have a really goated level 0 yellow brainstorm that's a double climax combo. So even if Superstar was in English, I'm not sure we would even want to be playing this card. But as far as the applications of this, apart from just being a really good salvage brainstorm, something that we did see in Beaufry was the ability to play standbys at level 0 without needing red, and also using the discard to draw 1 effect to get the standby target out of your hand into your waiting room so that you can bring it out via standby. So this does have applications in this set as well, because this set does have a couple standby climaxes. Overall, a really, really nice card. Okay. This is a very interesting level 0 Emma. So Nijagasaki's main gimmick, it revolves around having different colors in different places. There are some cards that require you to have multiple different colors in your waiting room, and there are also cards like this Emma that require you to have different colors in your level. And for those of you who like just don't know about the name, Niji in Nijigasaki does mean rainbow, and so that does kind of play into this whole mechanic of like colors. So this Emma is a level 0 assist. She is an assist 500 times the number of different colors in your level. So if you play this at level 0, it's not giving any power at all because you don't have anything in your level zone yet. But as you proceed with the game, this card does become more and more valuable by giving more power as you get more cards into your level zone. And she also has an effect of you can pay 1 rester to reveal top if it's a character added to your hand. Not the most reliable effect, but it does get you a potential plus. So pretty neat card. Here we have the Hanamaru Fukujiro, a very nice upgrade for Love Live Sunshine decks, because since you can play these cards with the previous sets as well, as long as you are staying within the correct unit. And so this is just a normal Fukujiro, on death, ditch 1, top check 4 at a level 1 or higher. This can be a pretty good card for getting useless cards out of your hand, like maybe you want to get your 3-2 Yo into Waiting Room, and then bring it out off of the Chika 3-2, the Mirai Ticket combo. And then we have a Hanayo level swapper. This is quite important for this set in particular because a couple of the branches, Original Love Live and Love Live Sunshine, do revolve around level-based experience. So they want to have a lot of really high-level cards in your level zone in order to fulfill those experience requirements and unlock some of the more powerful effects. Okay, we have a Ditch Climax Salvage for Superstar. We also have a lot of alarm and shift effects in this set as well, so those are very interesting. There's also a ton of 3-2s. Because of how there are really steep experience requirements for OG Love Live and Love Live Sunshine, there are a ton of level 3s to choose from. I think there's like 25 different level 3s in this 138 card set, so like a ton of different level 3 options to choose from. This is a Rico 2 or less early play, and then she's a top check X, where X is the number of cards your opponent has, and then during your turn she gets plus 1k and on reverse optional memory kick. Not a bad card. Oh, here we have the level 0 Yo for our rare. So this is the very popular on play Rico effect, as people have dubbed it across the English speaking world. This is a profile that was actually first printed in Love Live Sunshine Volume 2, which is not, or actually no, not Volume 2, School Idol Festival 6th Anniversary, which is not a set that we do have here in English. So it's really, really nice that they were gracious enough to reprint the card in School Idol Festival 2. This is, of course, just the ordinary Rico effect, but a very, very powerful effect nonetheless. Or on-play Rico, I guess, since we do have the actual 2-1 Rico in Sunshine itself. Oh, and here we have our first foil. This is the Climax for the level 3 Hanamaru Climax combo. Let me see if I can... Oh, here we have some sleeves. So yeah, well, this works with the level 3 Hanamaru Climax combo, and one thing that I think is really funny about many of the Climaxes in this set is that they actually just share art with the character that combos with them. So if we pull the level 3 Hanamaru, it's going to have the exact same art here. It does make it a kind of convenient, I guess, if you're playing any of those Climax combos, that you don't really have to explain which Climax combos with which card, because you can just look at the art. And then for our rare, we have a 1-1 Rina from Love Live Nijigasaki. She's an anti-changed stock bomb. And she also has level 0 shift. So if you find her in your clock and you need that anti-change effect, you can swap a yellow card in your hand for her and then just have access to her ability. Oh, and then our next double R is the level 3. Okay, so I'll speak Chinese. I'm not going to pretend to speak Chinese. There's two guys over there in the other room that do speak Chinese, so they probably know how to pronounce her name properly, but I'm just going to go with Cuckoo. I know it looks like it says like Kiki, but it's actually like, I think the like Chinese syllable is like kind of like K sound or something like that. But this is a very, very powerful level 3. In my opinion, this is probably one of the strongest level 3 finisher options available in the set. And it has seen play both in School Idol Festival 2 Neo Standard as well as Superstar Neo Standard over on the Japanese side. So it's an on-play heal the bottom card of your clock into your waiting room. This is to allow you to maintain like your alarm effects. And then also she has the Climax combo with Pants. On attack, you can pay 1, discard 2, deal 2 damage to your opponent, and then reveal the top 3 cards of their deck and shuffle. And if they revealed a Climax within those 3 cards, you get to burn 2 a second time. So it's a very scammy finisher. It can reward you immensely just for your opponent having their cards in their deck in the wrong order. But a very, very powerful card if you're able to get that top check 3 into a second burn 2. It just gives you a ton of bang for your buck. Okay, and then for our rare, we have a 2-1 Shiki from Superstar. She's one of the more recent members to be added. The original 5 members of Leela are, let's see if we can find them here. We have just Cuckoo, I think. And then also Kanon. Kanon is also one of the original members of Superstar. And then a few more that we'll probably just pull in later packs. Okay. We have one of the Yo level 3s. It's a -3 Soul Hand Encore. Could maybe see use in like standby, but the -1 Soul tends to be a demerit during the late game. Letting your opponent attack for less damage means you have less chance of canceling the incoming attacks. And for our rare, we have a free fresh counter for Love Live Sunshine. This is actually a card that I definitely think people will be using out of this set for their old Love Live Sunshine decks, just because it's a very, very good counter effect. And then with the door triggers that Sunshine already uses, as well as the choice climaxes that we will be seeing within School Idol Festival 2, it becomes much easier to cherry pick this card from your waiting room. This is a pretty interesting card, this level 2 Kasumi. So she says when she attacks, if you have 3 or more different colors in your waiting room, you can blind stock 1. So she can refund herself on her first swing. One thing I think is very interesting is that in theory you could play a green card in Nijigasaki now, because there is 1 green card for each of the lead members of each group. So it's possible to have 3 colors in your waiting room with one of them being green, and makes achieving that 3 color condition even easier than before, in theory. Okay, and our rare is this level 1 Ayumu. She is on attack 15 if you have another blue character, and she has the like K1 pseudo encore effect. We have a level 3 Nico. This is good in a level 0 based deck, which honestly, this set is promoting a deck with a lot of level 0s with the level 0 Honoka Climax combo and some of the other support cards in the set. So a pretty interesting card. And for our rare, we have the level 0 Kanata. She is a drop search and also on attack give 15 anywhere. Pretty solid card. Able to swing for 3k herself if needed, but also able to buff up some of your other characters. I'm a really big fan of these level 0s that have really good scaling throughout the game outside of just their utility effect. So just being able to use this as a 1500 buffer if needed is really, really strong. Gives the card multiple uses. Memory Kick Ren counter. Oh, and then for our next foil, we have the level 0 Lanju. She has the effect where if she's in the front row center slot, she gets plus 2500 power and plus 1 level. Kind of fitting for a character like Lanju. She's like a very strong-willed character. And she's definitely able to get the job done on her own. This level 1 Mei is a card that can change into the level 2 Shiki combo once you hit level 2. And it's also grabbable out of the deck via another card with an on-play pay 1 ability. And our rare is Ren. This is a time machine. When she reverses her battle opponent, you can send her to memory, bring her back next turn. Not a bad way to get like a free +1 just out of nowhere, and it doesn't require like a climax or anything either. Okay, this is not the rare, but the level 3 Lanju is a pretty nice Musashi effect, off finisher. So on the turn she's placed on stage from hand, when she gets cancelled, you mill 1, burn X +1, where X is the level of the milled card. And also, on attack, if you have 2 or more different colors in waiting room, she gets +1 soul, letting you swing harder and leverage that Musashi effect. And because this set tends to be very top-heavy due to the experience requirements, you probably will have quite a few high-level characters that you can mill off of this effect to try to get really big burns. And for our rare, we have the green Chica. This is the green card for Love Live Sunshine. During your turn, +1k, and she has an on-reverse Rize effect. When she gets reversed, you look at up to 3 cards from the top of your deck, add a music character from among them to your hand, send the rest of the waiting room and discard cards. So it can be a nice filter throughout the game, maybe a bit of flexible deck speed as well. So pretty useful card overall. Our next double R is the Gaia level 0. This is a really, really strong level 0 card. It's the same as the Takina level 0 from Licorice Recoil, if you guys are familiar with that set. But This card says, during your turn, if all of your characters are music trait, which they will be unless your opponent has some sort of trait deletion, then this card gets plus 2,000 power, bringing her up to 4k. And then her other effect, when your other music character is front attacked, you can pay 1 and sack the Daya in order to return the character being attacked back to your hand. And so by frontlining the Daya and attacking with her, you can get a +1 in value. So like if your opponent would ordinarily be able to wipe your entire front row, kill all 3 of your characters, you can use Daya's effect to return one of those other characters back to your hand, so you're maintaining card advantage. Really, really strong effect. And we have a, with Climax, Stock Charger, Kotori. And for our rare, we have a 2/1 Kanon. This card can be played without fulfilling color requirements. Very important for a card that you would want to be playing in a set that doesn't have green in the first place, like Love Live Superstar. And then this card gains a bunch of power on attack, and when she reverses her battle opponent, you can discard 1 if you have a Climax in play to give her a -2 soul across effect until the end of the opponent's next turn. Very, very interesting card. Okay. And our next double R is going to be the 1/0 Maki. She has a Climax combo on attack, top check 4, add 1, gain 1k. And then, unlike another card that in English that does have basically this, almost this exact same effect, which is the level 1 Yuki from Sword Art Anniversary, this card does not have the field requirement of needing 3 or more other traded characters. It only needs 1 other traded character. However, this obviously does only look at 4 cards, whereas the Yuki looks at 5. Still a very powerful card nonetheless. And it does have an additional 1k power from the continuous effect if you have experience 2. However, you're probably going to want to be leveling level 3s depending on what your finisher is with the Maki, because like I was saying earlier, some of the cards in this set, including finishers, have an experience 9 requirement. So even though the experience requirement is only 2 for this card, in those decks you will want to be leveling level 3, level 3, level 3. Speaking of really good level 3s that you can level for the Maki, here we have the level 3 Mia, one of the newer characters from Love Live Nijigasaki. So she's a front 2k assist. You can rest her to top check 2 rearrange, and she has the on play Marine effect, where you sack one of your characters, top check 3, put 1 in your hand, 1 into stock, and then send the last one to waiting room. Very, very strong effect, and I'm a big fan of this card, even if some of the finishers in the set don't actually really need that 2k buff from the assist. Just having access to that on-play effect to dig through the top 3 cards of your deck is really, really strong. And our level 1 is Umi. I'm a big fan of this card. So she has a shift to get her out of clock. And then during your turn, if you have 2 or more other characters, she gets plus 2k. And when she reverses her battle opponent, you can discard a card to top check 3 and add any card from among them to your hand, and send the rest to waiting room. So this can add climaxes and would be able to add events, but in this set there are actually 0 event cards at all. It's all characters and climaxes, but if you play this in an OG Love Live deck, you would have access to some events that you could potentially grab off of this ability. So really, really nice card. 6k is a very solid offensive power line, especially when you add climax on top to make it 7k. So it's pretty easy to get reverses with this Umi and be able to use that effect. Really, really cool card. We have a level swapper in case you need one for those experience requirements. And this one is another level swapper, this level 1 Emma. She is a 5/5 and she rests one of your other characters in order to level swap. And then here we have our last double R of the box, which is the level 3 Honoka. This is an experience 9 card. On play, if you fulfill the experience 9 requirement, you get to either heal 1 and gain 2,500 until end of turn, letting her swing for 11/5. Or you can salvage a climax from your waiting room. So if you want to play for a ditch or a salvage climax rather than like a top check 3 to dig for your climax with the Mia, then you could go for the Honoka instead, especially if your deck is already running a combo that requires experience 9, such as the level 3 Chica that we're going to look at later on in the video. Additionally, this Honoka has an alarm where if she's on top of your clock and you have 4 or more music characters on stage, you draw up to 2 cards and discard 2 cards. And just remember, just a reminder, the draw up to 2 is optional, but the discard is not. So you do not want to forget about this card, otherwise you're going to like discard 2 cards for free. And for our rare, we have the 2/1 Kanon combo from Superstar. This is a standby combo, requires 4 or more characters on stage in order to play it. And then also, when you play the climax, the standby climax, the climax area, you can stand one of your other characters as long as this Kanon is on your front row. And so basically the way you're supposed to play this card is you want one of those 4 characters for the early play condition to be the level 1 Chica. And then when you play your standby climax, you're going to bounce this Chica back to your hand with her effect, opening up the slot, and then you can standby out your character that you want to stand off of the Kanon effect. There's a similar line of play in Overlord, or I guess Nazarick for English, set 1 with the standby combo that does almost the exact same thing, pretty much. And here's our third foil. We have the level 0 Chica. This is the same card as the green level 0 that we pulled earlier, but it does have the alternate art because it is the awakened art for the card in School Idol Festival 2. This is our third one. Like I said, though, there is a possibility that we get a 4th foil, potentially. So we'll have to keep a lookout for that within our last few boxes. We have the level 2 Lanju. This is definitely a card of all time. So this Lanju is a 4 more cards on board early play. And then she has a climax combo that at the beginning of the Encore step, you can stack the climax to give her 4,500 power, hexproof, and bodyguard until the end of the opponent's next turn. So your opponent has to front attack all of their cards into her if she's in the front row center slot and she's not reversed. However, she does have that weird third effect where your opponent, or you cannot play events or backups from your hand as long as this is on stage. So if your opponent is able to scale her power line through her bodyguard, you will not have any say in the matter. You cannot play an event or backup to try to defend her. They are going to defeat her. It's going to happen. And so I think that's a very, very strange choice from the design perspective to give a bodyguard the inability to play events or backups. Very, very weird card. Definitely not one that I would play personally. I definitely think it's just more of a gimmick climax combo amongst the climax combos available in this set. Here we have a Brainstorm on an assist, which is not something you see every day. Level assist, and then pay 1 rest 2 for each climax you can salvage. I think there's like a similar card to this in Review Starlight Relive, if I remember correctly. One of the green level 2s. Okay, we have the Mia climax combo. This one, it has an assignable climax combo, kind of similar to Corone, where you can stack all of the effects onto one character. However, I don't think you're actually going to want to stack them all on one character with this combo, because the effect you're stacking is to stock a character from Waiting Room and then reveal the top card of your deck. If it is level 1 or higher, put it into your hand. However, if it's not level 1 or higher, it stays on top of the deck. And so if you were to stack a bunch of instances of this effect onto a single character, the moment you whiff the first top check, all of the future instances of this effect are going to whiff as well. So not the best climax combo. It does want you to actually have multiple reverses in order to make sure that you're changing the top card of your deck in between instances. This is a pretty cool card, this level 2 I. So if you have 3 or more, or if you have 2 or more unique colors in Waiting Room, which is very easy to accomplish, and she attacks a level 3 or higher character, she gets plus 7,000 power and plus 1 soul until end of turn. So she swings for a massive 13/5/2 soul. And then she also has an alarm that lets you swap her with a card in your Waiting Room in order to more easily fulfill experience requirements for the late stages of the game. This Daya is a pretty cool card. She has on-play heal, and then also on-play you can discard a card to make your opponent mill the top 10 cards of their deck into their Waiting Room. This is just the deck's best way of playing through a compressed deck. Just mill all those cards into the Waiting Room. So it's kind of like a stock swap in that respect, but it doesn't actually change the contents of their stock. It does get those climaxes potentially out of the way from your opponent's deck, so you can try to more easily stick damage. And she's also a healer as a baseline, so pretty good card. 4K beater Natsumi from Superstar. You cannot play events or backup. That's just a pretty fake condition overall, so just a very solid 4K beater if you're looking for one in this set. And then for our rare, we have 3/2 Honoka. This is a standby combo where you want to be standbying this card out at level 2 and then using her climax combo effect to stand her. Additionally, on attack, you can discard a card in order to heal So as long as she stays on the board, you can continue to use this climax combo, or not this climax combo, you can continue to use this heal effect every single turn to just keep healing from level 2 and try to sustain the game and stay alive as long as possible. We have an anti-change. This is the anti-change backup of the set, the level 2 Ellie, and also usable in OG Love Live as well. I think previously the only anti-change backup that English had access to was the level 1 Nico, which also allows your opponent to get a character back that they can then attack with as well. And so it's nice to just have a normal anti-change backup in the form of this level 2 Ellie. And here's our level 3 Hanamaru. This goes with the climax that we went with earlier, so you guys can take a look. These are indeed the exact same art. So this level 3 Hanamaru, she has the on-play effect of paying 1 to search your deck for another copy of Hanamaru and putting it on stage. This is an effect that we've seen on finishers such as Kurumi from Fujimi Bunko 1, as well as Lisa from Bang Dream Extra Booster. The Bang Dream, which one was it? It was the Rhodesia and Reza Suilan Extra Booster. They also had a similar effect. Her actual climax combo is at the end of her attack, you can pay 2 to either heal 1 or you can pay 2 to deal 2 damage to your opponent. And so this is a pretty nice climax combo because of the fact that if your opponent is out of range to kill, you can flex on doing a heal 1 instead of going for the burn. But also because the pay 1 effect of the Hanamaru allows you to bring out extra copies for cheap, then you don't actually need as much stock as you would normally need in order to resolve multiple copies of this combo. If you want to resolve triple Hanamaru with triple burn 2, you only need 8 stock from the start, which is very easy to accomplish, and it also requires basically 0 hand because you're getting all of the extra copies from your deck with Hanamaru's on-play effect. Okay, and for our last pack, here's our Climax Swapper, the level 0 Shioriko, and she also has Shift, so you can grab her out of your clock by swapping a yellow card in your hand for her. Maybe if you're playing a yellow card such as the level 0 Natsumi that we just looked at, and you have like this random 4K beater in the mid to late game that you don't really need anymore, you can just swap it for a Climax Swap, and you have a Climax Swap all ready to go for your late game. Really, really nice card. Okay, and for our last rare of the box, we have the level 1 Kasumi. This card gains gains up to 4,000 power on play. On play, you mill 2 cards and then gets 2,000 power per music character milled. Allows her to swing very, very high and survive into your opponent's turn, where you can then utilize her second effect. When your opponent plays a climax, you can send her from stage to stock. Allows you to get just extra resources to use throughout the game. And I think would probably be a pretty good card to run in like a Hanamaru deck because you do need a lot of stock and you don't really need a lot of extra hand. So just play Kasumi, send her to stock, and then use that stock for your late game for like the Hanamaru. So that is going to be it for our first box. We're going to go ahead and clean up and be right back with our second box. I think in our last box opening, or at least the last one that I was in, we pulled a lot of duplicate double Rs. That being said, with this being a 13 double R set, the chance that we actually pull a bunch of duplicates is a lot lower, so hopefully we can pull some new cards to showcase to you guys in our second box. So we'll be right back. Okay, here we go, guys. Box number 2. We were unsuccessful in pulling one of the high rarity cards in our first box, but surely this second box will have better luck. So, as long as we're here, I can go ahead and talk about who some of my favorite characters are in the Love Live franchise. But first, let's take a look at our level 3 Honoka PR. This is just an alternate art of the level 3 that we pulled towards the end of the last box. So as far as my favorite characters in the Love Live franchise, my favorites from each series are Nico and Umi from OG Love Live. In Sunshine, my favorites are Yo and Yoshiko. In Nijigasaki, my favorites are Setsuna, Shioriko, and Kanata. And then for Superstar, I haven't actually looked too much into the characters in Superstar, or I haven't like really watched any of the media of it either, so I'm not super familiar with the actual characters. Funnily enough, for Love Live Superstar, I'm actually more of a fan of like some of the voice actresses. If you guys have seen any of the clips of the Love Live Superstar voice actresses when they're doing like their like variety material, they are so funny to watch them interact. So like Sayuri, Date, and like Liu, and and Nagisa Aoyama, probably my 3 favorites among the voice actresses. But yeah, I'm not super familiar with the actual characters themselves, unfortunately. Oh, we have our first foil of the box already in our first pack, the level 1 Mei. So this is the one that we pulled from the last box, where you can change this into the level 2, I think it was the Shiki combo, which is the blue one. So this is going to be our first foil from the second box. And then for our rare, we have the level 1 Yoshiko. This is a card that, in my opinion, is quite hard to actually play in the School Idol Festival 2 set as a standalone. I think it is much more viable in Love Live Sunshine. So this card has both effects require experience. So experience 2 to get 2k during your turn, and then also Climax Combo Pseudo Fever. You can look at up to 5 cards from the top of your deck, add a music character, and then this becomes 6k cross turn until the end of the opponent's next turn. So a pretty strong card, as long as you can get the Climax Combo condition of the experience as well as getting over your opponent's character. But it is able to swing into an empty lane and still resolve combo, which is pretty nice. The main reason I think this card is hard to play in School Idol Festival 2 is because I think that a lot of the yellow cards that you would want to be leveling for experience are not very good. Whereas in Sunshine, I think you have a lot better yellow options to throw into experience, such as the level 3s, like the Yoshiko Musashi off finisher, or maybe like the 2-1 Ruby memory kit counter. Yeah, in this set, I think probably the best level 3 that you could throw into experience would be the level 3 Hanamaru that we looked at in the end of the last box. However, you want all of those copies of Yoshiko or of Hanamaru in rotation in order to make the best use of her on-play effect to summon more copies from your deck. So I don't think you would want to be leveling that card. Okay. Our next rare is going to be the level 0 level 0 Chisato Brainstorm. This is a top check 3 Brainstorm for each climax you hit. And then at the beginning of your climax phase, you reveal the top card of your deck. And if it is a music character, you get to give one of your characters 500 power. I think it's very interesting that they gave 2 really good Brainstorms to both to Love Live Superstar rather than some of the other branches. All right, our second foil is going to be the 2-1 Kasumi. This is the stock charger that we saw in the earlier in the opening. On attack, if you have 3 or more colors in your waiting room, you can stock charge 1 from the top of your deck. And our rare is the level 0 Mia. This one is kind of similar to an Amagi effect, where it's when you play a climax, you can pay 1 to top check 4 and add a card from among them to your hand. However, this card adds level 1 or higher cards from the top 4 rather than adding a traded character. And so this card would be able to add events if there were any in the set, but this is a lot more useful in Nijigasaki Neo Standard, which is like it technically exists in English, but it would be much better to play in a Japanese deck where you have access to all of the full sets for Nijigasaki. Especially because there are actually a lot of Nijigasaki decks that are reliant on playing a lot of events. Things like the Emma level 1 combo, which wants an event in waiting room, or the level 3 Karin combo, which actually just plays events as part of its finisher line. However, we don't have access to those cards in English, unfortunately. So this card is a bit of a diminished use due to that fact. For our first double R of the box, we have the level 3 Ellie. So this one requires a specific level 0 Honoka, which is also a double R, in your clock in order to early play this Ellie. When she's placed on stage from hand, she gets an additional 3,000 power, and then she gains the effect until the end of the opponent's turn, where if she gets sent to your waiting room, you get to add her back to your hand. So if your opponent runs over her, you just get her back so you can play her again on the next turn. Pretty cool. And then her climax combo is a very simple on attack ping 1. Just a very simple effect. This is definitely a card that is playable, just if you want to play a deck that wants to put a lot of pressure on your opponent throughout the mid to late game, rather than just going for a standard finisher at the very end of the game. So you can just early play this down and then just start burning your opponent. And then it is on a gold bar, so if this Ellie does survive and you trigger a gold bar, you can play the climax and do it again on the next turn. But even if she dies, you can just get her back to your hand with her effect and then replay her and then do it all over again, just as long as you get that gold bar climax. Our rare is a level 0 Mari. This is a tap self-search brainstorm, and then it also has an experience 2 during your turn, plus 500 assist. Okay. For those of you who have been watching the channel for a long time, you guys probably know by now that I'm not a huge fan of search brainstorms. I really, really love salvage brainstorms. The ability to play around what you can already see in your waiting room, I think, is very strong. And the fact that you do not have to change the size of your deck based on how many climaxes you hit. You always just like reliably are going 4 cards deeper into your deck. Here we have the level 3 Shioriko Climax combo as our next double R. And this card actually has a very interesting story, in Japanese specifically. So this card is on play. You can sack one of your other characters to heal 2 stock, and then Climax combo on attack, pay 2. You gain a cancel burn 2, and then if the cancel burn 2 is activated, you also get to choose one of your other characters, and you get to pass the burn 2 on cancel effect to that character. And additionally, if that character's attack also gets canceled and you do another burn 2, you get to pass the burn effect again. And so this Climax combo originally was printed in, I believe, Dalsenyo, so Da Capo and Dalsenyo in Japanese. And it was a pretty strong Climax combo there, but I believe it had a completely different cost rather than pay 2. This Shioriko is a very interesting card because it requires you to actually have cards in your clock in order to heal to stock and be able to have enough resources to utilize all the copies of the Climax combo, because it is 2 stock on attack. So if you were to play 3 copies of Shioriko and then not use any of their heal effects, probably because like you didn't have any cards in your clock to actually heal to stock, then it would require you to have a full 10 stock in order to resolve triple. However, if you have 3 cards in stock that you can heal, it only requires you to have 8 cards, I believe. Let me think. You play 3 copies, you heal 3 to stock, and then you would go up to 5. No, you need 7 starting stock. Sorry, not 8. Math is hard. So you would only need 7 starting stock, assuming you're able to heal 3 times to heal to stock and get your stock back. So a really funny thing about this card that you could do in Japanese, you can't do this in English, unfortunately, is there is a level 1 Shioko, card game Shioko card that was a universal card that you were able to play in any deck, and it had Clock Encore. And so what you would do is you could play that Shioko in a deck with this Shioriko. You would play the Shioriko to sacrifice the Shioko, heal to stock, Clock Encore, so that you could get a card back into your clock in order to heal to stock with the next copy of Shioriko and make sure that you had enough stock to use the effect. It was a very, very weird optimization, and that Shioriko was actually like super expensive for a Love Live Superstar deck that you could also use that card universally in that deck as well. And eventually that Shioko did end up getting removed from the universal Neo Standard list. They were basically they were tired of people just using these Shioko cards in like all these random decks in different ways. And yeah, so as a result, this Shioriko actually did get, in my opinion, quite a bit worse as a result of that card being removed from the universal list. There is another really funny thing that you could do with this Shioriko that you also can't do in English. I know I'm talking a lot about stuff that you can't even do in English, but it's just some fun stuff that I think is pretty notable about the card, is that there is a level 3 Climax combo for Nijigasaki, which is a 3-2 Ayumu. And so she has one of those Climax combos where when you bring her out via standby during the attack phase, you can pay the cost and you can stand her. And so by passing the Shioriko Climax combo around to your characters and constantly proccing the on-cancel burns, you can bring out an Ayumu in the middle of the attack phase, stand it, and then you can pass it to the Ayumu, which can then continuously apply more pressure and potentially get more cancel burns. And you can also, there are some events that give your characters a burn effect that can also proc the on cancel, burn, and like pass the effect around. So there's a lot of really cool stuff that you can do with the Shioriko that unfortunately cannot be done in English. And so I think for that reason, this card is quite a bit worse in English. All right, for our next rare, we have a level 0 Nozomi Brainstorm. This one is designed to be utilized in like the level 0 centric deck alongside cards like the level 0 Honoka Climax combo. She has an effect that says assist level 0 and lower characters in front of this card get plus 500 power. And then she's also a tap self salvage Brainstorm. So a very, very solid card overall, especially if you're playing that level 0 centric strategy. Unfortunately, there are no cards, I believe, in this set that are a level 1 that like loses levels on stage to become a level 0 in order to get benefit from that assist 500, which is a little bit unfortunate. But yeah, that level 0 centric strategies is definitely the Brainstorm that you are going to want to be playing. And for our next rare, we have level 0 I. This is a drop salvage, I believe. Yeah, so on play, you pay 1, ditch 1, salvage a music character, and then you can top check to rearrange. And she also has an act ability that says you can sack her to give one of your music characters plus 1 soul. This could be a really, really good effect just to use in the end game if you want to play this to use its drop salvage ability. Typically in the end game, when you play like a drop search or a drop salvage, you're going to be just like playing over that drop search or drop salvage anyway in order to make room for your finishers. But when you play this level 0 I, you can use that act ability just to give a little bit of extra soul instead of just playing over it and wasting the card completely. And also that on-play drop salvage effect, just having the extra top check to rearrange tacked on top is quite nice, although you do have to actually use the drop salvage effect and pay the cost, pay 1, ditch 1 in order to have access to that top check to rearrange, unlike some of the other cards in the game where they're on 2 separate abilities. For our rare, we have the level 0 Nico. She has the Arisu effect. This is an effect that we've seen a lot in Weiss Schwarz many, many times, such as in Quintessential Quintuplets. On play, you can discard a traded character to draw a card, and additionally, it has a top check filter. So a really good card just to filter good options into your hand and get the worst cards out of your hand. And so just having double hand fixes is pretty cool. Oh, we have our next foil, level 0 Rin. Oh god. Level 0 Rin, this is an on-play, it's kind of like a Hesia effect where you top check 3 for a card of a specific type, and then if you find one to add to your hand, you discard a card. But this one looks for alarms and shifts, and so we have seen throughout the opening, there have been quite a few cards with alarm and shift. Unfortunately, I don't think that there are enough to really justify running this card for the purpose of grabbing alarms and shifts. However, this card is able to just be a flexible mill up to 3 on play, so if you're looking for a little bit of extra mill power, this might even be a card that you could look into playing. Her second effect is not even bad. She has on play, you just give one of your characters 1k power until end of turn, so it's just a nice little power boost on top of flexible mill. So I definitely think this is a card that you could consider running, even if you aren't running very many alarms and shift effects in your deck in the first place. Although, speaking of alarms and shifts, here we have our next rare, the level 3 Kanon. This is a card that I think all 3 of us here on the Tressa's team are a pretty big fan of. So this card has, on play, you can search your deck for a character, and then you may discard a card in order to free summon something from your hand. So this card can just serve as an on-play search if you have enough stock to do your entire endgame plan. But also, if you don't have enough stock, you can just discard a card in order to free summon one of the characters from your hand. And so it's just a very, very flexible level 3 card. And then she also has an alarm effect where you can ditch Climax Salvage at the start of your Climax phase if you just have an extra Climax chilling in your hand and you clocked this Kanon for turn. Oh, we're supposed to be putting these over here. So let's see. What is our next rare? We have the level 0 U. This is one of the clock plussing options of this set, where when she gets... Well, first of all, when all of your characters are music trait, she gets plus 2,000 power, and then also she gains the effect where when she becomes reversed in battle, you can pay 1 and clock herself in order to top check 3 for a character and add it to your hand. And then also, if this card is in your level, she can swap herself out for a music character in your waiting room at the start of your main phase. This helps fulfill for your experience 9 requirements. But also, she is actually an experience requirement for herself for a level 3 Karim, which is an early play. So depending on what deck you are playing, you might want her in your level zone just to fulfill her experience requirement herself, or you might want to swap her out for high level cards for experience 9 decks. And our next rare is level 3 Shizuku. This is an on-play bounce, and also top check 3 rearrange. So this is kind of like the Little Gil Thunder from what's it called? 7 Deadly Sins. And she also has an alarm at the start of your climax phase. If this is on top of your clock, you can pay 1, discard 1, search. But you're mainly going to be running this card. If you're running this card, you're mainly going to be playing it for that bounce, especially in matchups such as like Shakugan no Shana with the anti-burn. That could be pretty annoying. So you might want to run Shizuku in that deck or in your deck if you anticipate running into a lot of Shana. All right, here is one of my favorite level 3s throughout the entire set, this double rare Sumire from Love Live Superstar. So this card is a 4 or more early play. On play, heal 1 and gain 1500 until end of turn to go up to 10k on offense for the turn she's played. And then her third effect is, when this card's damage is canceled, you can stock a music character from your waiting room. This is such a good effect. Basically allowing you to potentially get a free stock. If she survives the turn, you can get another free stock potentially because it's not on the turn she's placed. And so this card is just like such a good early play, being a very good early play condition with 4 or more, being a healer and still gaining that offensive power to go up to 10k, so she's like pretty decent offensive line. Just definitely one of my favorite cards in the set for sure. For our rare, we have level 0 Mei. This card has the pay 1 rest her in order to give one of your characters on reverse salvage effect. And then also she has a very interesting second effect that we don't see very often. I think, off the top of my head, I think I've only ever seen this effect in like 2 other sets. But she says, at the beginning of your climax phase, if this card is rested, you can put this card into memory. And if you do, at the start of your next draw phase, you get to bring her back onto the board. And so this card can be useful in standby decks, because you can use her effect, pay 1, rest her in order to give one of your characters the on-reverse salvage, and then at the beginning of your climax phase, you send her to memory, and it opens up the slot for you to standby cards into. And so you can use this alongside the level 2 Kanon combo from Love Live Superstar, because she does have that 4 or more early play condition. So you can open up the slot for the standby by using this Maze effect, sending her to memory and bringing her back next turn. Very, very interesting effect. Oh, yes. All right, here we go. This is the best double R in the set. Like, just straight up. It's the best double R. The level 0 Ruby for Love Live Sunshine. This is going to be a card that you're going to want to be playing in both Love Live School Idol Festival 2. Oh, I don't need to sleeve this one up. What am I doing? This is a card that you're going to want to be playing in every Love Live Sunshine deck and pretty much every Love Live School Idol Festival 2 deck as well. So she has the on-play Ricky effect, pay 1, clock a character from your waiting room, and search your deck for a level 1 or lower character. And also, on attack, you can give one of your characters 500 power until end of turn. This is such a huge card for both Neo Standards. School Idol Festival 2, you have those experience requirements. This Ruby allows you to clock specific cards from your waiting room to help you fulfill those requirements. And then in Love Live Sunshine, this is actually an extremely powerful card for the Mirai ticket package. Being able to be at 1-6 and clock yourself to 2-0. Previously in Love Live Sunshine, that's always been the worst case scenario if you clock yourself to 2-0 for turn, because it means you cannot fulfill your level 2 Rico in clock condition to play your Mirai ticket cards. However, if you have the Ruby now, you can clock yourself to 2-0, play Ruby, use her Ricky effect, clock a 2-1 Rico from your waiting room in order to turn your Mirai ticket package online. It's just a very, very powerful card. And of course, it's just as useful throughout the early game, being able to use that Ricky effect to grab your level 1 combo and set yourself up for later stages of the game. Just a super, super strong card. This is a card that you want to be seeing in every single box if you can, just because it's such a strong card. All right, and then our rare is the level 1 Chica. This is a card that we pulled as a box hopper from our first booster box, and is going to be seeing play in the standby versions of Love Live SIF 2, more than likely. For our rare, we have level 3 Emma. This is a healer, and then experience. If you have a yellow and red card in your level zone, you pay 2, and then you mocha your opponent 2, so you get to look at the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck, eliminate any climaxes from among them, and put the rest back on top of your opponent's deck. So pretty alright off finisher, and the fact that it's a healer as a baseline is also pretty cool. Pretty good. Oh, here we have a double R. For our last double R of the box, we have the level 3 Karin. This is the card that I said earlier needs the level 0 U in your level zone. So she is an early play healer, and she's also a 9/5 hand encore. And so the card that I would probably compare her most to is like the Shizu from That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, because Shizu is also a card where once you fulfill her early play condition, you'll be able to play her just anytime you want. And they are both healers that gain power and hand encore. And unfortunately, this Karin doesn't swing very high. She's only 9,500 power, so that is quite low for early play standards. And so for that reason, I'm not the hugest fan of this card, but it's definitely, if you're looking for a healer to play throughout the mid-game without any like muss or fuss about conditions, then this is a card that you could potentially look into. But I'm more of a fan of the Sumire early play heal. 4 or more on board is a pretty easy enough condition to fulfill already. And the only advantage that the Karin would have over the Sumire is if you want to play multiple copies of the Karin within the same turn. For our rare, we have the Kinako level 1. This is a drop search, and it is a level 1 character, so that is not the greatest. But I think that the reason this card is... valuable in Japanese, I think Superstar doesn't have a drop searcher except for this card. Any of the Superstar players can correct me if I'm wrong, but this card definitely does see some use if I'm not mistaken. And I think that might be the reason why. Her other effect is on attack, if you have 2 or more colors in your waiting room, this gets plus 1,500 power, so kind of playing into that color strategy that some of the Nijigasaki characters also have. Okay. For our next rare, we have the level 3 Kotori. She is another 4 or more music characters early play. She's actually pretty similar to the Saya early play from... Or actually, no. I think she's exactly the Tsugumi early play from Bang Dream. Which set is it? It's whatever the most recent one is. The anniversary one. Wait, yes, the anniversary one? I'm gonna be real. I'm mixing up all of the Bang Dream sets in my head. But there's a Tsugumi that is a 4 more early play, 10k power, on play, ditch 1, heal to stock, and so this is basically the exact same card. Again, when it comes to 4 or more early plays, I'm personally biased more towards the Sumire, but if you are playing a deck that does need more stock than hand, such as the Shioriko level 3, this one does want more stock, then you might want to play the Kotori level 3 instead in order to just maintain those stock numbers as well as you can for your late game, where every stock counts. Okay, and then for our final pack, the final rare is going to be the level 0 Setsuna, my favorite character from Love Live Nijigasaki. So this is a helmet, so you can discard 1 and sacrifice her from the board in order to salvage any character from your waiting room. And she also has an act ability where you can rest her to give one of your characters 500 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. This card reminds me of the level 1 helmet effects from like Quintessential Quintuplets. And like there are some other sets here and there that have this effect, like Ruby. However, the fact that this card is a level 0 makes it a lot more usable, just because you're able to play it at level 0 and make use of that rest to boost 500 effect as soon as you start the game. And then also, compared to the ones like Ruby, where they do not ignore color, whereas the Quince ones, they do ignore color, this card being able to come into play regardless of what deck you're playing and what colors you have is also really, really strong. So in this second box, we did not pull any duplicate double rares, I'm pretty sure. And we do have 3 more that we're going to look at the very end, and we'll go ahead and just clean up real quick, take a look at those, and I'll be right back just in a sec. Okay guys, we are back, and we have the remaining 3 double Rs to show you guys. So one of them is the level 0 Honoka that goes with the level 3 ISA. This is also some OG Love Live privilege. Wow, why do you get to have 2 double Rs on the same character? Honoka's so privileged. And then we also have the Chika level 3 combo for Love Live Sunshine and the Ayumu level 1 combo for, well, it's for Nijigasaki, but for the purposes of English, it's basically a combo for SIF2. Let's start with the Honoka. So this is a level 0 Climax combo that says during your turn, this gets 1,000 power for some reason. And then the Climax combo doesn't even involve her actually staying on the board. The Climax combo says when you play it, if she's in the front row, she bounces herself back to hand in order to summon a level 0 character from your waiting room and give it 500 power until the end of the turn. I think pretty much everybody that has read this card can agree that it's kind of confused. Just because, like, you can only gain the power on itself, and then it goes back to your hand in order to actually use its Climax combo. It's a little bit of a strange card. And the fact that it can only bounce itself back to hand in the front row really limits your ability to utilize other cards throughout the game. Like if you want to have some like level 1 Kotori, where her Climax, or her effect says, when you reverse your opponent, if you have a Climax in the Climax area, you can blind stock 1. But if the Honoka has to be in the front row to resolve her combo, then that means that's less opportunities to actually play the Kotori. I think that if the Honoka was able to be in the back row as well, and you could use her Climax combo to bounce her back to hand, it could be really, really powerful, because you could just use her to get like brainstorms or things like that, and really set up your board while still utilizing those strong like front row effects like the Kotori. That being said, this is a card that is needed for the Ellie level 3. You need this Honoka and Clock in order to early play this Ellie. And so if you do want to play the Ellie, you are more or less playing an 8 gold bar deck, unless you're just playing Honoka just like as a vanilla attacker, which I have definitely seen some of my friends do, so I don't think it's out of the question. But in my opinion, this is probably one of the double Rs that you are going to want to try to avoid in your boxes. We didn't pull one here, so I guess that's good, but it's definitely a usable card. I would say that the best card to bring out off of this Climax combo would be the level 0 Dia double R, just because this card already has so much strong offensive power already, just being a 4K attacker, and then it would be 5/5 after the Climax and the 500 buff from the Honoka, and maybe it could get even higher through other cards such as the level 0 Nozomi Brainstorm that gives 500 front to level 0 characters. Okay, next let's move on to the level 3 Chica. So this is the Climax combo of the deck that requires experience 9. And so she is on play heal, and then, or on play heal the bottom card of your clock to waiting room. This is again in order to make sure that you can continuously use your alarm effects if you have any on top of your clock. And then she has on attack Climax combo with Door. Experience 9, pay 1, discard 1 to gain 1500 power, and then choose one of 2 effects. You can either burn 1 and then shuffle back 3, or you can burn 3. And so, depending on the state of your opponent's deck, you might want to go for one or the other. Like maybe if your opponent has a really, really compressed deck and a 3 damage would probably get canceled anyway, you want to go for the ping 1 just so you can shuffle back 3 and then make it easier for you to stick some future damage, something like that. But this is a pretty strong card. I think between the Chica and the Cuckoo, these are probably 2 of the strongest finishers available within the set. As I was saying earlier, I think that Shioriko really shines within actual Nijigasaki decks, where you have a lot of these other components that are not available in English that you can combo alongside her. Our final double R of the box is the level 1 Ayumu. So this is a 4K, and she has a Climax combo on attack mill 3 and salvage a level X or lower character from your waiting room, where X is the number of colors of cards put into your waiting room by this effect. And so if you mill 3 different colors, you can salvage a level 3 or lower character. But if you mill 2 cards of the same color, then that does limit the level of the cards that you're able to grab. My personal beef with this card is the fact that you are forced to mill exactly 3 cards. You cannot mill up to 3 from the top of your deck, so it's not flexible deck speed. And if you mill a bunch of Climaxes out of your deck, then you're just kind of sad. That's my main problem with the card, but I think it's an overall pretty solid card, especially with her first effect that says when she attacks, if you have 2 or more other characters, you can top check 2, rearrange, and then give herself 2,000 power until end of turn. So pretty strong card for controlling your triggers, making sure you're not triggering like Climaxes unnecessarily or things like that. Or if you want to go for like specific soul damage, you can do that as well by choosing between the top 2 cards, whichever card has a soul trigger or doesn't have a soul trigger. So overall, I think this is a pretty good combo. Personally, I prefer combos like the level 1 Maki overall, just because I feel like this one is just a lot more flexible in the amount of cards that you can go through your deck. So these are all of our 13 double Rs. As we said at the beginning, it is 4 for OG Love Live, 3 for Sunshine, 3 for Nijigasaki, and 3 for Superstar. And so that's going to do it for the double Rs, but we do have some foils to show you guys, just as we do in most of our box openings. So this is 1 case's worth of SPs, if I am not mistaken, just looking at the cards real quick. And so as I said earlier in the video, you are expecting to get 5 SPs per sealed case, but if you do get a secret rare, it will replace one of your 5 expected SPs. And so let's go ahead and take a look at these. We have the level 1 Ren. This is the Time Machine. Oh, I also really like how the SPs are like color coded. I'm not sure if it's by branch. I think based on seeing the Honoka and the Maki both being pink, I think it might be based on what branch they are from. But we have the level 1 Maki Climax combo. We have the level 3 Chica. This is this one that salvages a Climax. And then we have level 0 I. This is the Drop Salvage. And then for the secret rare, we have the level 3 Honoka. Again, this is the exact same card, the level 3 double rare. And also the 39 SPs in the set seem to all be character signs, whereas the secret rares, these ones are Seiyu signature. So we do see here we have Emi Nita's signature, the voice actress of Honoka. And so, yeah, that is going to do it for our box opening for Love Live SIF2. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Go ahead and let us know down in the comments what decks you are going to be looking forward to building, whether it is an OG Love Live deck or Love Live Sunshine deck or just an SIF Neo Standard deck. We are building a bunch of different decks ourselves, and we're not totally sure which ones are going to be the best ones or which ones are going to be in our gameplay videos yet, but be sure to stay tuned to the channel, like the video, and subscribe, and stay tuned for our upcoming content for Love Live SIF2, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!